I'm a man of my word, so I will list the 5 things that I personally like more about PlayStation 5 than Xbox Series X and S. But before we get into this, just know this is you listening to somebody else's individual opinion that is not the wrong or right one. It is just simply my own, as you can have your own. If you do comment, I appreciate it. And if you comment constructively, I really appreciate it. And if you don't comment constructively and just want to troll people, whoever hurt you, I'm sorry. So with that being said, and hopefully we can have a constructive, opinionated conversation about the things that I personally like more that the PlayStation 5 is doing. And yes, I am getting an Xbox Series X, but these are still things that I am happy that PlayStation is doing, because that's what you can do as a fan. You can simply admire what the other guy is doing instead of dissing it. First thing is design. I actually, believe it or not, really love the design of the PlayStation 5. It looks super futuristic, super cheesy. Yes, I have seen the memes, they are funny, but I like the cheese. I like when things just seem super like futuristic and out of control. It looks goofy, it looks like the router, but I like it. And the thing I especially like about it more than the Xbox Series X and S is whether it's the digital or disc version. I love the pregnant comments, by the way, that was funny. I love that it looks equally as good vertically or horizontally. I think that's great. I love it when something just can look good either way. And the Series X just doesn't to me. And then the Series S is like, I don't know, that console just looks kind of weird in general to me. So if I want a neat showcase for my room, I think PlayStation 5 would be a very weird thing to be in there, and that's kind of why I love it. Second thing is the UI. The UI isn't something that I am super duper, you know, it's not like a big factor to me, but I do appreciate it. And something that the PS5 can do that the Series X can't, at least currently, is this whole pinning cards thing. I love that. It gives me hope that you can pin like YouTube or Netflix or something on the side while you play games. They haven't confirmed that, but it just gives me hope for that through their card system that they're talking about. But the big thing that gives me hope for that I think is super cool, is when you get in a party with your friends, you can share your screen. What I would give to be able to be in parties with my friends or voice chats or whatever they're called in your system, and to be able to see what they're going through and like listening to them play doesn't do justice after having something like shared screens. I would love to see what they're doing as they're talking about it. And that thing right there is honestly the coolest thing to me about the UI. Plus, I think it honestly flows a lot better than the Xbox's does, and it just seems kind of continuous, and I really like that. The third thing that is definitely on a lot of people's minds and is probably the most important reason to many is the launch lineup. The set of games that you could expect to play, not only like at the launch of this console, but also the first year. PlayStation 5 knocks it out of the park in terms of what games are gonna be available in the first year you have the system. And that's such a good feeling. Now, granted, if you have the money to spend on it, that's great. I personally don't, but I'm just saying in a perfect world that I had all the money to bust out on each of these games. You got Spidey, you got Sackboy, you got Horizon. Now, and granted, those 3 you could play on the PS4 if you wanted to, so they're cross-gen. But even with them being cross-gen and, you know, the exclusives like Ratchet and Demon's Souls and maybe God of War, it's cool to see all of the heavy hitters, or at least a lot of heavy hitters that are going to be released by the end of 2021. And that's that's awesome. That's great. On a personal level, I think I'd be most excited for Spidey and Ratchet and Clank. I just love Insomniac, so that was a big win for PlayStation. And honestly, that's the big thing that's kind of against Xbox right now is, yes, you get all their first party releases day 1 through Game Pass. You don't have too much that makes you feel super like, oh my gosh, there's this huge release like at day and launch in the first year. We know a lot of things are coming, but with PlayStation, you just have all the heavy hitters that PlayStation has earned. They have earned their gamers' trust with their heavy hitters that they have. And it's really nice to see either of these consoles have so many heavy hitters in their first year. The fourth thing I really like is the controller for the PlayStation 5. I don't really care too much for the design. I don't dislike it. It's just, you know, that's not the reason it's here. The reason this is here is because of the innovation in technology. Yes, the Xbox controllers have improved input lag and a little bit more texture and stuff, but it's honestly basically the same controller. Whereas the PlayStation 5, kind of like the design of the box, it is taking this, you know, innovative new spin on it, and it has the haptic feedback, which I think is so cool. I love that little gimmick of my like Nintendo Switch, you know, which I think has, you know, similar haptic feedback thing. I love that. I love that, you know, you can kind of feel where things are going in the controller, and the idea of like the bow resistance. It really is a gimmick that not everybody's going to care about, but I think it's cool. I really think it's cool. Now, this is the thing. This fifth thing is to me like the big, when I was like 45 PlayStation, 55 Xbox and tossing and turning. I am so disappointed that Xbox does not have VR. I like VR. I really do. It's not something that's like a requirement to me, which is why, you know, I made my decision and stuff. But it baffles me. VR is a cool thing. Again, it's a gimmick that not everybody's gonna go for, but PlayStation 5 is gonna be able to do it because it's backwards compatible with what the PSVR did on PlayStation 4. And it's really cool, like side note, that, you know, Sony's willing to send out free adapters to PS5 owners to get the PSVR to work. That's really cool on like a PR note. Neat. But I just like that's an option on the PlayStation 5. I really like that's an option that, you know, like they announced the Hitman game is gonna have VR, and, you know, you could bring forth whatever else you had on the previous system. And I just wish Xbox did that. I really do, but they don't. So for now, that is to like on, again, my personal level, not the right one, but just to me, that is the biggest thing that I'm like, damn it, I want that. Now, in case you watched this before, my 5 reasons why I'm personally getting a Series X over any of the next gen consoles, you can find that video over in the corner here. But these are the 5 reasons I personally like would go for the PS5, but I would love to know constructively. There's still gonna be toxic comments, but if you are not a toxic comment, I would love to see your thoughts on, you know, like why you're getting a PS5 or a Series X or even a Series S, PS5 digital. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be geek, be proud, be awesome.